Welcome to She Is Podcast. My name is Gia Faye, and today's episode is called She Is Sensual. So we'll be talking about what exactly is being sensual by an expert who coaches women to find their sensuality. I'm so thankful to have you with me today. With your help, I want to create a community of women who want to redefine who she is. So I also created an acronym to help you remember who you are, women, and that is for the SHE. S for She Is Soul, H for She Is Heart, and E for She Is Energy. To know yourself is to truly love yourself. We've been taught from a very young age false beliefs of who we are through family, friends, and the media. Each episode, I hope to tackle a different subject that will help break down those old ideas and ultimately better your life and enable you to empower others around you. I hope you will subscribe, rate, and review this podcast and share it with your friends if it really helps you feel better and just learn something new about yourself. With your help, we are going to create a community of women to help all women rise. I want this to be a safe space for women to be vulnerable and honest with each other and to create the change in the world that we want to see. For today's topic, I'm so grateful to have my friend and expert Shan joining me, who has redefined sensuality to create emotional freedom. She hosts sensual movement meditation classes, a podcast called The Feminine Epicurean, and combines her passion for food and dance in her coaching. Shan, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Gia, for having me.
I'm
This
so
is
excited to
exciting.
talk about sensuality because I think a lot of women
Yes.
think that sensuality means sexuality.
Correct.
Which is not the case.
Not-
I even thought that too.
No.
And she was like, no, girl, let me tell you what it is.
Oh my
so
gosh,
please
yes.
help our audience understand what is sensuality.
Okay, so simply put, sensuality is your capacity to feel in your body so that you can really connect with your emotions, so that you can really be authentic with how you're feeling in the body, in your emotions, and in your heart.
And I think that's important because it's more, right now in a society where Tinder and Bumble, people are just kind of like, sexuality is so different. People, like when I meet guys, they just want to straight go into the bedroom. I'm like, I don't feel any connection to your spirit. I don't connect anything to your soul. And they're the fastest way. That's why men are, they try to kiss me on the first date. They try to take me to bed right away. And I think it's because their way to feel is to feel the body.
That's
And the
absolutely
other person's
true.
body. They don't even know how they feel about themselves.
That is so true. I think there is a way that I think men feel about intimacy. It's really one of the rare ways men get intimacy is through sex.
Yeah.
And that's because I think we as women, we're at least a little bit more, there's a little more leeway for us to feel our emotions and express our emotions. Whereas for men, they're not taught, they're actually discouraged from expressing their emotions and their feelings. And so this is the reason why I feel men are often confusing intimacy with sexuality and sensuality.
And women confuse it too, right?
And society as a whole, I
Yeah.
think we're just very confused about what it is because, you can be very sensual even with a piece of chocolate or a piece of fruit.
Yeah. I
You
know.
know,
I know. I have those
food.
moments with dark chocolate, man.
Because
we're numbing something though.
because through food we're tasting something, right? So sensuality is really utilizing all of your senses. So the sense of touch, the sense of taste, the sense of smell, the sense of sight, we have, and even your sense of hearing, all of those things encompass and they bridge together your ultimate package of sensuality, if you will. So does that mean then it's completely different from sexuality? Well, they're not one and the same because you can have sex without any sensuality.
True.
You can just have the physical, mechanical act of it and just get it over with and move on.
Which is what most people are doing now with like those dating apps, right?
And,
yeah.
well, dating apps too, but also in marriages.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's a huge issue because a lot of people, we don't talk about this openly, but most marriages are relatively sexless because It's not because it's missing sexuality, it's missing sensuality.
Oh, that makes sense.
People are missing how it feels to truly connect because we're taught to not feel our emotions. And our
Yeah.
emotions actually live in the body.
And if we don't know how to feel our own emotions, how can we truly feel anyone else's emotions?
100%.
And that's where I feel like the disconnection is. I mean, I know, my parents and lots of people that have been married 30, 40 years, and literally will sit there and just watch television for their quality time. I think
Yes.
that is like, where is the connection? And it's because I think, and you can expand on this. I think it's because feelings in general are scary. Like even me, when I used to feel down, it's like, okay, what's the fastest way I can feel better? Which is, having dark chocolate or going to work out, and it would bring me out of it. But now, since I've met Shan, she's really helped me connect to my feelings and just allow me to learn to sit there, because your feelings are your superpower. Woman, did you hear that? Your feelings are your superpower. And when you realize that your feelings are just trying to teach you something and tell you something, I think that we can really gain insight to become a better person and to teach someone else about it as well.
Well, yes, but do you know why feelings are scary?
Well, I know that for me, they're scary because they feel uncomfortable. I know that for me, it scares me. It's just like a hard workout. Nobody wants to do hard workouts because they're uncomfortable, and also because they're shamed. We've had this discussion where like our feelings are shamed, especially when it comes for men.
Yes, absolutely. So feelings are uncomfortable because that's actually conditioning.
Conditioning, yeah.
Feelings were never really uncomfortable in the beginning. So if you look at little children, 2 or 3-year-old toddlers, they're very free to express all of their emotions.
Yeah.
Ranging from tantrums, borderlining on rage to complete bliss. They just express.
Yeah.
Right. But
then they start to get coached, right, through parents, like especially with boys. Don't cry. Be a good girl. Don't be difficult.
So those are the messages that we hear, right? So as little children, it's not just the parents. It's really society as a whole.
Society, yeah.
Because
media.
Because we're going to get that at a school. We're going to get that with any kind of authoritarian figures. We're going to get that, at work, with bosses. We're not free to, we're not allowed the capacity to just fully express ourselves. So my job as a sensuality mentor really is to make this world a safer place so that we can express our emotions freely, because there are certain containers in which, you're safe to do that. And that's one of the containers that I create in my classes.
Yeah.
And because, ultimately, there's nothing wrong with our feelings. They're just guiding us.
Yeah.
And if we don't process our feelings, then they just get lodged in the body. That's why people become numb. That's because when you
and eventually sick,
and that's actually my personal story.
Yeah, so why don't you share your personal story as well, which is how did you become so passionate on this subject?
So I was suffering from about 7 years of severe panic attacks, going in and out of emergency rooms. I had no idea what was wrong with me. I would drive with my children in the back seat, and at the time they were quite young, about 2.5 and 8, 9. And I would literally have to drive with a paper bag next to my seat so that I didn't pass out, because I would get tunnel visions. It was really, really bad. And I knew that my body was trying to tell me something, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't resort to taking medication.
We all have a spirit guide, ladies. Isn't that crazy? Just like birds know where to migrate to go eat, we know where to go. It's something in us, but society, media, family, friends, everyone can help us kind of close our eyes to it. But if we really take the time to, that's why meditation now becomes more and more popular, because when you meditate and you just silence your mind for a couple minutes, you're able to hear your spirit guide.
That is very true. And something that also you can work in tandem with meditation is to really tune into your body, because that's the second layer of work. You can try to still the mind.
Yeah.
But your emotional body has a mind of its own as well. So sometimes we try to control that emotional body by, suppressing it, rejecting it, denying it. And the mind is very tricky. Your ego is so smart. It'll outsmart it'll try to outsmart you every time.
Yeah.
So it'll say, no, that's not logical. It's not logical to feel what you're feeling. So let's just suppress it. Let's go take that Xanax.
Yep.
Let's go eat that chocolate.
Let's go smoke that pot.
Let's go smoke that pot. Let's go sleep with that guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Or that girl. Because those are all just coping mechanisms.
Exactly.
So
Even
now,
eating food. Right?
Oh, food is one of the biggest coping mechanisms. Food itself is not the problem.
Yeah.
Alcohol itself is not the problem.
That's the Band-Aid.
It is just a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
It's just to help you feel a little bit better so that you don't have to actually feel what's underneath the coping mechanism. So this work really is about getting to the core of it, getting to the bottom of things. Because, we can put Band-Aids all we want, but it's just going to keep oozing until you actually take off the Band-Aid, treat it with care. So self-love really is not just about doing all the right things. It's not just about eating all the right food and exercising.
Exactly.
But self-love really is about looking at the part of you that you really don't like about yourself and still be okay with it.
Yeah. That is so true. And self-love, I think for, people that are listening that are maybe starting that journey, there's never going to be a destination. I learned that in my journey of fitness. Self-love is something that you're constantly improving.
Yes.
There's constantly things being revealed to you. It's a journey of self-discovery 100%. And people also need to have that in their mind that it's more than just saying, oh, I love myself. Because a lot of times people that say that don't really, really understand what true self-love is, which is really feeling those feelings like you're saying and giving yourself that just the space to feel. If you're feeling down, like feel those feelings. Like I said, with myself, I didn't like to feel those feelings. I was like, okay, how can I get out of this as fast as possible? And for me, it has been food, it's been exercise. And, it used to be alcohol when I was younger. Once I realized that does not do good for your skin, ladies, or your waistline. And during that time you were having the panic attacks, was it when you were married or when it was towards the end of your marriage or?
So it was the second half of my marriage, and I was married for almost 12 years at the time.
Wow.
And so I had worked, within the marriage for a long time, and because I come from a culture and my family, in my family, nobody's divorced. And so it was a huge tribe to leave. It really felt like I was walking in the dark, when I made this decision.
I feel you, girl.
And
it was the same for me.
And it was, but ultimately it was a matter of, well, I can stay in a marriage that, in the end, I would measure it as a success by its longevity.
Yep.
Or I could measure my life as a success by rediscovering me.
Yes.
And in the end, I chose me.
Oh, well, I'm so happy you did because you are the most beautiful person inside and out. And I mean, I love meeting other women that are like-minded like myself. I had to also go through the same thing. I think the Asian culture and the Latino cultures are very similar in the sense of, we don't get divorced. We endure 40 years of horrible, toxic relationships. And when I got divorced, it was the same thing. It was just kind of like, oh no, how could you be getting divorced? And even though that, it was very toxic for them, it's just like, no, that shouldn't happen. You should just endure. And
That's true.
and we have to learn to just choose ourselves. And it starts with being sensual, being okay with your feelings and knowing your feelings.
Yes, and start to rediscover how it is you're truly feeling on the inside. So tapping into your body. And there's so many ways you can do that, right? Mm-hmm. So you can start a simple practice by just connecting with yourself and dancing.
Dancing like nobody's watching.
Dancing
right?
like everybody's watching and you don't care.
Or that. I haven't gotten there yet, but I want to get there. Because, I mean, that's how I ended up, taking one of your classes. And I swear my body's never done what it did.
Oh, I love that.
She had me dance. She had me move in movements I've never done. I'm used to squats and push-ups and, all the regular fitness stuff. But she made me dance and get out of my comfort zone. And at the beginning, yes, it was uncomfortable. I'm going to tell you, yes, I didn't like it. And my ego was like, ugh, well, what is this? And, it's your ego can trick you into lots of stuff. Like I said, no, your body's not supposed to move like this.
Yes.
But then when I let myself go, I started moving in ways that opened up my chakras. Mm-hmm. It opened up emotions that I had been suppressing. I mean, and I got divorced 8 years ago, and I still have these feelings suppressed in my heart. And then she had us lay down and do a meditation, and literally my heart started to come up off the ground. Like I was laying flat, and I remember my heart just going up and down, up and down. I mean, it literally felt like I was having an exorcism, okay?
I felt it.
Yes, she put her hands on me and it got crazy. I could feel the power in your hands, and my hands started to feel like they had like this really, really thick magnet.
Yeah.
And my hips started to curl up. I mean, it was the best energy work that I had ever had. And I honestly, it's crazy how the universe gives you exactly what you need at the exact moment. Even for those women that are listening to this right now, you may be thinking, oh, this is the exact message that I needed to hear. It's not a coincidence.
That's so true.
When you ask the universe to help me, give me signs, give me a message, it will come to you, but you have to put it in words. You have to put it out there in the universe for that energy to come back.
And also you have to be open.
And comfortable to be uncomfortable.
That's where growth happens, right?
I
because our
know.
ego is always going to keep us safe. And within safety, within the confines of safety, there's going to be very little room for growth. And really, it's within the uncomfortable areas that we can really stretch ourselves, because we have to continue to see how we can expand. What more, how much more of our own selves can we rediscover? Because it's already here. Your guru is you. It's like GURU. Because you are your guru.
Yeah, that's so true.
We forget, we think that all the answers are outside of us, right? This is why we think, oh, maybe if I just, start eating better, then I'm going to have a better body. If I just get that man, then I'll be finally happy.
Yeah, exactly. And those are great start. I mean, the food and the exercise, I think fitness, it's a great foundation. Every time I start coaching women, they're like, I want to love myself better, and exercise is the next thing. And then we go into their diet. And then we go into their sleep patterns because people don't understand that your sleep also makes you gain or lose weight.
Yes.
And then we go into your meditation. And the meditation, I feel like those are the places where people kind of tug more because they're like, I don't want to know what's in my mind. Some women have literally told me, I don't like to do cardio because my thoughts start to tell me all these things and I don't want to hear them. But it's like your body is trying to tell you something. Exactly. Your mind is trying to tell you something. And if you allow it to share the message, I mean, you will grow, you will learn, and you will be able to empower other women at the same time.
And really, I think you brought up such a good question because what are you truly afraid of? I think it was Marianne Williamson that said that we're not afraid of our darkness. We're actually just truly afraid of our light.
Yeah, that is so true. And what we could become.
And it's through these places that we don't want to visit that we hold the most power.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I actually had the courage to kind of come to this point where I was willing to make the decision of choosing myself over my marriage that I have rediscovered myself, that I have re-owned my power, because it was already here. It was always here.
It's always been there.
It was always within me, and yet I didn't allow myself to go there because it is scary.
It is scary. And what happens when women lose touch with their sensual side? What are the effects that are most noticeable for somebody out there being like, well, have I lost touch with that? How can they identify that?
So a couple of things that come to mind. One of them, what I notice is that when women start to really lose their interest in sexuality as well.
Okay.
Because they're actually very, very disconnected from their sensuality.
Okay.
So this is why I think it's very important to reconnect with your sensuality. You're not going to be able to feel as much in your body when you're disconnected from your sensuality. And this is why a lot of women don't enjoy sex. They're actually, what that ultimately means is that they've lost touch with themselves.
So noticeably, it's losing touch with themselves.
100%. So what that means is they start to disengage from what they truly want, how they truly feel, what they're truly thinking. And the body is where we store all of our emotions. And so when you lose touch with your own self, your body's going to start giving you signals, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't listen to those signals, the signals will just get louder. Like for in my case, my signals started with, little panic attacks, and then they became full-blown panic attacks. And then it got to a point where I couldn't really even leave my house.
And you said also that it had made you gain weight.
So after my second baby, I probably was holding on to about 40 pounds of extra weight. And the weight would not come off. I mean, this body that you're seeing now...
Yeah, the ones that if you're watching on YouTube, you can check her out. She has such a hot body. Yeah.
This body that you're seeing now does not even represent what I look like after I had my baby. And that weight didn't come off for 3 years because it didn't want to. I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
So our bodies will hold on to a layer of protection. So again, this is why it's super important to not shame yourself. If you have an eating disorder, if you are drinking alcohol, if you are smoking pot, or if you're just wanting meaningless, connection with men, that's actually when you have to be really kind and gentle with yourself. And tell yourself, I understand. I know how difficult it is, and we'll get through it together. And start really just listen to what you truly want and what you truly need, because you already know. You're your own expert.
Yeah.
There's no one else out there that's going to know you like you do.
Yeah.
But the minute we start to turn that voice off, then we're going to start to want all the things that actually don't serve us, that are sometimes meaningless to us.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of tuning into that voice, getting in touch with your body, getting in touch with your sensuality, getting in touch with your emotions. And one of the quickest ways you can do that is by your breathing, by your breath, moving your body.
So noticeably, though, it would be... anxiety, right? These are things that for women that are, curious if you're getting anxiety, where it's coming from. Also, it could also turn into depression.
100%.
It could turn into weight gain.
100%.
So sensuality is so important.
So important. And again, those things are just manifestations of the lack and the disconnect between you and sensuality. So those are manifestations, like the manifestation of the extra weight.
Yes.
The manifestation of depression,
Anxiety,
loneliness,
yeah.
Isolation, disconnection, lack of intimacy, lack of desire for sex.
Yeah.
So they are just manifestations of you not connecting with yourself.
And the longer you wait to get in touch with that, the worse it's going to get.
True.
So it's not going to go away, ladies. I'm sorry. It doesn't go away.
It just gets stored in the body.
Exactly. And you were already starting to talk about, ways that women can connect with their sensual side. For the women that are listening and are like, okay, that is me. This is how I feel. What can they start doing? You started talking about your breath. Go, expand on that.
So there are many styles of breath work, and this is part of the reason why yoga is such a good practice. But there's actually something that is even more directly connected to your breath, and this is one of the teachings that I share with people. And this style of breath work is a kind of a circular breath work, if you will, meaning you connect your in-breath and your out-breath. And by doing so, you fully connect to your body, and you drop your breath all the way into your diaphragm. So it's a diaphragmatic style of breathing.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you can really start to get in touch with your emotions, because remember, emotions are just energy in motion.
Yeah.
And energy is neither created nor destroyed. So when you feel an emotion, guess what that happens if it's not processed?
I don't know.
It goes right in your body.
It goes into your body.
It goes right in your body because it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so the more you're holding on, then those kinds of emotions will turn into diseases.
Yeah.
All sorts of diseases, stomach diseases. I mean, you name it, heart diseases, right? So not only are you storing all of those emotions and they don't go away, but you're going to start to then want to disconnect from that heaviness.
Yeah.
And this is why all those coping mechanisms are so popular. And they're easy because then you don't actually have to look at it and do the work. But, the only way is through.
Yeah, it's the only way to get through it. And even women in relationships, for women in relationships, I think it's so important for you not to lose that alone time, checking in with yourself, even just 2 minutes to 5 minutes a day.
Absolutely.
Because that's a way for you to continue to keep your sensuality, even during relationships. Because I know so many women, even including myself, when I was married, I lost myself. My whole world turned into my, my ex-husband. And I was so unhappy. I was so miserable, and I was numbing with everything I could find, which is, alcohol and just, pointless just pointless conversations even with men outside of the marriage. And I think it's important for us to practice the sensuality time, I guess. Maybe it's like some kind of ritual that you can do, right?
I love that. Yes, absolutely. And that's something you can easily do just on your own. You can certainly, I think one of the tips I shared with you is first thing in the morning when you wake up, you know what, just turn on a piece of music that you love. It doesn't matter what kind of song. It could be rap, it could be classical.
Something that makes you feel good.
Something that just makes you feel like you're here and you're alive. Because we don't feel good all the time. Sometimes you're sad, but guess what? Then turn on a song and just let those tears flow. Because that's what you need.
Yeah. Your body will tell you what you need. We need to listen to our spirit guide.
You just need to listen, and you just need to give yourself permission to actually feel. So again, it's not about feeling good. It's about feeling, period.
Yes. And just like workouts, it's going to be uncomfortable. You may discover things that you didn't know you were weak at. But I think that that's the beauty of it, and being just kind to ourselves. You know,
absolutely.
It starts with, if we're kind to ourselves, we're going to be able to be kind to other women. And,
100%.
Even men, not shaming men for their feelings, not shaming women for their feelings. I know girls that literally have told me, God, just get over your ex already. It's like, who are you to tell me how long I need to heal? I still need to feel these feelings, so let me feel. You don't want to go into a victim space either, but there are those girls even that will shame you. And I think that the change has to start with us.
100%. People like to shame other people because they themselves don't want to look at what is painful for them. Because, well, what's amazing about this work is that, even though it sounds like it's really difficult in the beginning, the more you do this work, the more you have capacity for yourself to have compassion. Because you are so compassionate with yourself, then you have the capacity to have compassion for others. And when you have capacity to have compassion for others, there is no room for shaming, because you can show up and you can say, oh, I've been there too.
Yes.
I've been hurt too. I've been angry too. I've been sad too. I've grieved too.
Yeah.
And now I can be blissful also.
Exactly. And I think that that's a good gauge for us. If we're sitting there criticizing and shaming someone else, I think that we really have to take a moment and be honest with ourselves to look at why we're doing that. And that answer might just be because you're criticizing yourself in your head, which another topic that I want to talk about on another podcast is the power of self-talk. She is her words. Every way that we talk about ourselves is the way we're going to define ourselves, and it's going to dictate our actions, and our actions then become our habits, and our habits become our reality, you guys.
That's very true.
That is a fact. Oh, this was such a great conversation. Thank you so much, Shan, for being here with me. I hope that you guys were able to learn something from this podcast. There was so many great tools that you guys can take to really just empower yourself, to empower other people. This, She Is podcast is still something really new, so I hope that you guys will help me just build this community of women who want to redefine who she is. Subscribe, review, and comment, especially if you're watching from YouTube. Please remember to comment below and tell us what you want me to cover for the next episodes. Let me know also on Instagram at GFA what you guys thought of this podcast, as well as Shan Sally Health. All these links will be in the YouTube channel, the description box. So if you want to find her as well, her website will also be there. I recommend you reaching out if you guys are really at the place where you're ready to get help, because it's powerful to get to that space, and we can contemplate getting help for years. Just like getting healthy and fit. I noticed this with people I train. People had been contemplating, I want to get fit for years, and you can sit in that contemplation place for a long time. So please take the power of your choice to make the decision to at least ask for help and connect with women that are doing the same thing. Because together we will build a community of women who will redefine who she is, as well as, like I said, strengthen the bond of womanhood. And don't miss my next episode, when my next guest will talk about being real to empower your life. So tune in to find out who she is. We'll see you guys next time, and talk to you next time. Bye.